Hello everybody and welcome back to another video by Funland Tutorials. In today's video we are going to be continuing with the topic of game theory, and as you can see on the screen I have a particular game given here in matrix form. So just a quick note, this form of game is called the normal form game. Now, what do I mean by the normal form? Basically, normal form representation is a representation that involves a matrix. Why I'm mentioning this is because we have something called an extensive form game as well, and that extensive form game we'll be discussing in a future video, but that actually involves something called a game tree and such. So basically, when you are studying a particular topic, it's always better to know about the allied concepts, things that can be related to it. So it's better to do that. Hence I just mentioned that this form of game is called a normal form game. So we have a normal form game here, and as you can see here, so it basically considers two players. So we have a player named Al and a player named Bob, and you can see that both of them have two actions that they can perform. So they can either cheat or they can promise. Similarly, Bob can also either cheat or he can promise. So they both have the same actions essentially to choose between, and these are the payoffs. So these numbers are the payoffs for each player. Again, we'll assume that Bob is player 1. This is by convention, so we assume that player 1 is Bob and player 2 is Al. So by the standard convention, we assume that the first number belongs to Bob and the second number belongs to Al. So for example, if Bob cheats and Al also cheats, then Bob gets a payoff of 3k, 3000, and Al also gets a payoff of 3k. Now what we are going to do is we are going to try to find out the equilibrium in the standard form, right? So suppose we first fixed that Bob wants to cheat, right? So we fix this row. So we go along this row and we check what Al wants to do. So if Bob cheats, then Al has two options. Al can either cheat or Al can promise. If Al cheats, then Al ends up with a payoff of 3k. But if Al promises, Al ends up with a payoff of 1k. So you can see that 3k is better than 1k. Here it's payoff, it's not a imprisonment. 3k, we can assume that it actually means some sort of monetary concession or monetary payoff. So money is always good. So we can assume that 3k is better than 1k. So what we can conclude is if Bob cheats, then Al is likely to cheat as well, because 3k is greater than 1k. Now we move on to Bob's strategy or action of promise, and we can see that if Al now cheats, Al ends up with 15k, whereas given Bob is promising, if Al promises, Al only ends up with a payoff of 10k. Again, going by the assumption that these are monetary payoffs or monetary compensations, we can assume that 15k is better than 10k because it's money that we are talking about. So 15k is better than 10k. Hence, what you can see is similar to the game that we had discussed last week. No matter what Bob does, Al is always better off cheating. You can see why, because whatever row we consider, Al always ends up playing in this spot. So they both correspond to Al's action of cheating. So we can conclude that Al's cheating is actually a dominant strategy. So I'll just write down dom strategy here. In short, this is Al's dominant strategy, right? Now next what we do is, now we move on from the perspective of Bob's action being fixed, and we move on to now Al's action being fixed. So what we do is we fix Al's action and then we decide what Bob wants to do. So suppose Al decides to cheat. Now if Al decides to cheat, then Bob will again have two options. Bob can either cheat or promise. Now remember, when we were looking at Al, we were looking at the second number. Why? Because Al was player 2. But you remember, since Bob is player 1, if I can just write it here once again for you to remember that Bob is player 1. So when we look at Bob's payoff, we have to ensure that we are looking at the first number here. So suppose Al cheats, then Bob, if he cheats, he gets a payoff of 3k, but if Bob promises, he gets a payoff of 1k. Remember, we are assuming that Al is cheating, so we are operating on this particular column. So you can see that Bob has two options. Cheat involves a payoff of 3k and promise involves a payoff of 1k. Naturally, considering that it's a monetary compensation, we assume 3k as the higher payoff. Similarly, I want you to do an exercise again now and see that when Al ends up promising, it's better for Bob to choose 15k. Right. Now you see again your equilibrium, which is the place where both of them are choosing their strategy, is 3k and 3k, right? The interesting thing about this is again a situation of prisoner's dilemma. Now, where are the prisoners? Where is the dilemma? You might be wondering. But you see, the idea is not in the fact that there are two prisoners involved in the game. The idea is what is the best outcome that you can have in this particular situation. Can you identify that the best particular situation in this game is actually 10k, 10k? 10k is, if not the highest, it's still higher than 1k or 3k at least, right? If they had both promised, they would have received 10k for both of the individuals, but what they do is they end up cheating, right? So this is actually another term that you can remember for this. This is something called the coordination failure. Now we'll discuss about coordination failure again in a future video, but the main idea is if they could have coordinated, they could have been in a better situation for both of the individuals. It's not that one person would have improved, both of them would have improved. Hence, there is a failure in them for coordination. So they cannot coordinate. That is, there is a coordination failure. If they could have coordinated, then they could have been in a better situation. So there is an idea of coordination failure. Another term that I want you to know in this regard is something called the Nash equilibrium. Now, Nash equilibrium is essentially a situation. So if I want to write it down, Nash equilibrium is basically, in a very simple way, I'm going to discuss Nash equilibrium in greater details, but again, with respect to this particular game, Nash equilibrium essentially means you are doing your best. You are doing your best. So these responses that we were choosing for Al and Bob, remember we were choosing the one that give the best payoff. So your best means it provides the highest payoff. That is what we mean by doing our best. It provides me the highest payoff. When others given, or we can write it like this, you are doing your best given what the other player is doing. So you are doing your best given what the other player is doing. What do I mean by that? If Bob cheats, I am better off cheating. If Bob promises, I am better off cheating. If that is how Al thinks, right? Again, if we are fixing Al's perspective, then if Al cheats, Bob is better off cheating. If Al promises, Bob is better off cheating. So given what the other player does, given what one player does, the other player is doing their best. Your best involves getting the highest payoff, and that is actually the main idea of Nash equilibrium. Every player is doing their best. The third thing that I want to mention in this regard, I'm just introducing you the basic terms, and in future consecutive videos I will just take up each of these terms. So you have prisoner's dilemma, you have, well, I did discuss a bit of prisoner's dilemma here as well. You have coordination failure, you have Nash equilibrium, and a fourth term that I will be discussing here, which is really pretty easy. One thing you can see here is when Al was cheating, Bob cheated. When Al promised, even then Bob cheated. So we can also find out that Bob's dominant strategy is also cheat. What do I mean by dominant strategy? It is basically a particular strategy where whatever the other person does, I am always better off doing this action. So whether Al cheats or promises, it doesn't matter to Bob. Bob is always better off he is cheating. So you can see that the equilibrium, the final equilibrium that we get is actually the place of interaction for these two columns, the dominant strategy columns and rows. So basically the equilibrium that we have is also called the dominant strategy equilibrium or the equilibrium in dominant strategy. Both these terms are used, but that is basically the main idea. one thing that I want you to remember is, do not get confused. Dominant strategy equilibrium and Nash equilibrium are not the same thing, right? They are, in this case, both of them are the same, but it is not true that both of them always have to be the same or that both of them are equivalent. They are not equivalent. In this particular case that we have, in this particular example, dominant strategy is the same as Nash equilibrium. Dominant strategy equilibrium is the same as the Nash equilibrium, but that is not always the case. So you can see that there are a couple of things that we found out. One is, a prisoner's dilemma game does not need to have prisoners. They can have other forms. The main idea is there needs to be a situation where the equilibrium, or in case Nash equilibrium, is not the best possible outcome. So that is basically the main idea of prisoner's dilemma. The idea is not that we have to have prisoners. The idea is the final outcome that we have should not be the best outcome. That is the idea, that is the definition, that is the main concept of prisoner's dilemma. The next thing that we found out is there is also some involvement of coordination failure. The third is this particular equilibrium that we have. Again, we will discuss about it in greater details. This particular equilibrium in our case is a Nash equilibrium, where every individual is doing their own best given what the other player does. And the fourth term that we find out here is, it is also a dominant strategy equilibrium. Why? Because it is the point of intersection between the two dominant strategies for each of the two players. So now that you have a brief idea about the, at least the normal form explanation of a game theory, I will be discussing about each of these terms in greater details in my future videos. Thank you.